Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Julie Henderson. I am the Vice President of Philanthropy here at East Bay SPCA, and we are incredibly excited to host you today for our webinar series of Lunch and Learn Municipal Partnerships Supporting Communities Through Collaboration. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to log in. I know people are probably sitting down to lunch, and Zoom takes a minute for people to get loaded. So in the interim, before we start, I wanted to take a minute to introduce everybody to a very special resident we have here in Oakland. She's my office foster for today. So a lot of us here in admin will take dogs and cats and we'll give them breaks from their kennels and we'll bring them into our offices for the day. This lady's super special. She's a little camera shy. I don't know if she's going to let me show her face, but her name is Miss Clifford. You can find her on our website. She's available for adoption here in Oakland. She's a 112-pound ball of love. And we're all very in love with her here in the office, and she deserves a wonderful home. So if you're interested in her or any of our other animals, please take a look at our website. But this lady is extra special for sure. So we're going to go ahead and get started. As I said earlier, my name is Julie Henderson. I'm the Vice President of Philanthropy here for East Bay SPCA. Incredibly happy to have you joining us today for our Lunch and Learn series. I'm going to take a brief minute and introduce our President and CEO, Allison Lindquist, who's here on the call with us.
Greetings. I just want to welcome you all for joining us today, and we are very excited to have Karalyn and Lindsay speaking about our community partnerships and, of course, our long-term relationship with Oakland as well, which is our primary city partnership. So looking forward to a nice presentation and certainly any questions that you may have. Enjoy.
Thank you, Allison. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and get started on the presentation. So it's my pleasure to introduce my colleagues, Vice President of Operations, Karalyn Aronow, and Shelter Operations Director, Lindsay McCall. They're going to take us through a presentation. If you have questions, please feel free to type them into the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen, and we will get to all questions after the presentation. But go ahead, take it away, guys.
Thanks so much for the introduction, Julie, and a warm welcome to everyone who's joining us online today. As Julie said, my name is Karalyn Aronow. I am the Vice President of Operations here at East Bay SPCA and have been at this organization for nearly 7 years now. And then we will also be hearing from Lindsay McCall, our Shelter Operations Director, in just a little bit.
Hi.
Between the two of us, we have combined over 40 years in animal welfare, and we're looking forward to getting to share some of our knowledge with you today. So let's get this thing going. When we think about animal shelters, we hear so many terms that get thrown around to describe sheltering agencies. And we're going to take a little bit of time at the top of this presentation to dig into them a little bit, just so everyone has a bit of more of a foundation to understand the rest of the talk. All right, so the first bucket that shelters typically go into is what type of organization they are. We have our municipal agencies, and these are generally run by a government entity, either a city or a county. These are the agencies that include animal control or animal services officers who are out in the field doing field work and response. These agencies are critically important in that they focus on public safety, they focus on animal control, and emergency preparedness for their communities. Then we have our nonprofit organizations. And these are groups that are independent. Each one has their own board of directors, their own policies and procedures, and they generally don't work directly with animal services. And instead of that, they have a wide range of community programs that they're able to offer to support pets and people. And then we have this third group where East Bay SPCA falls, and this is a nonprofit organization with a government contract. So we are an organization, just like the rest of our nonprofit peers, that are primarily funded by donations, and we have extended services to provide sheltering to the agencies that are out in the field performing animal control duties, in addition to the wide array of our community programs that we offer. And then finally, we have rescue groups. These are often breed-specific groups or foster-based groups who can help find placement for animals of a specific type. So moving on from the organization type, we can also talk about sheltering agencies as a source of animals. So this is exactly what it sounds like, where animals are coming from. The first group here is animal control officers. Like I mentioned earlier, typically affiliated with municipal agencies or nonprofits with government contracts. These are animals that are coming in as strays, protective custody, or cruelty cases who are either brought in directly by animal control or animal services officers or from the public who have found a stray animal running at large. Next, we have owner surrenders. So these are animals that come into a shelter directly from owners who, for whatever the reason might be, are no longer able to keep or care for their pet. This category does include returns of animals that were adopted. So for example, at East Bay SPCA, we will always accept a return of an animal that we adopted out at any time and for any reason. And then the final source of animals are animals that are transferred into our organization. And this happens when one group pulls animals from another group or agency. This is often done to reduce overcrowding at the source shelter or so that a group is able to use their additional resources to meet the animal's needs prior to adopting them out themselves. All right, so we've talked about organization type, where animals come from. Now let's talk about the animal intake style. So this is how and when animals are being admitted to the shelter. And the first group here is our open admission facilities. These serve as a really important safety net for the community because open admission generally means that any animal is accepted at any time and for any reason. These organizations, except strays, function as open admission largely because there's really no way to know when a stray will be coming into you or any information about that animal. When a stray walks through our doors, we don't usually know anything about that animal's background, their medical status, or their behavior, and yet we accept them anyway. The next group here is the limited admission or managed intake shelters. So when you're a limited admission shelter, it means you are choosing what animals to accept. You can still accept them from any of those source types, but you have the ability to turn away an animal that might not be a good fit for your program. Similar to managed intake, works about the same, except usually with a managed intake organization, you say, you know what, we will take that animal, just maybe not right now. It allows you to schedule out the intake. So if someone asks you to take in their pet as a surrender, you can say, yeah, absolutely, we can help you out with that animal. However, are you able to bring it in next week when we know that we'll have a kennel available or a surgery space or whatever else the animal might need? So it allows you to do exactly what it sounds like, manage the intake of animals into your facility. And then finally, we have our transfer in only agencies. These are generally nonprofits or rescue groups that are pulling animals from generally municipal agencies to help reduce overcrowding there or use their additional resources like I talked about earlier. These groups are able to select animals who will thrive in their setting or who they know their adopters are looking for to have better outcomes for all of the animals that they take in. All right, so where does East Bay SPCA fit in all of this? Well, from our founding over 150 years ago, we've operated as a private, nonprofit organization that's primarily founded through individual donors. And from the start, we sheltered animals for the city of Oakland, and we've always accepted strays directly from citizens. And as a part of that, we are actually written into the Oakland City Municipal Code to allow us to accept those strays directly. So prior to 2021, we have operated either as the primary shelter in Oakland, or once Oakland Animal Services opened, they became Oakland's primary municipal shelter. However, we were still accepting those strays. And that went until 2021, where the rest of our intake was through primarily transfers or owner surrenders. Now in 2021, we accepted the contract for the City of San Leandro and we began sheltering animals for that city. So that kind of transitioned us to this partially open admission flow where we were able to serve a wider range of animals because we were accepting animals from the City of San Leandro as strays or from their animal control or services officers. And that went through last year when we were approached by the City of Livermore, and they asked us to partner with them to also become their animal shelter provider. That contract just went into effect on July 1st of this year. And in the first 16 days of our contract, we've already received 43 animals from the City of Livermore. And we're so excited to continue this partnership with them. So now I am going to pass it over to Lindsay, who's going to talk to us a little bit more in detail about this.
Thank you, Karalyn, and to all of you for having me. Again, I am Lindsay McCall. While I'm a little bit newer to East Bay SPCA, I have worked across both municipal and the nonprofit sectors of animal welfare. And I personally have seen firsthand that building collaborative partnerships will improve outcomes for animals and streamline services for the communities we serve and the missions that we're all a part of. That includes you, our audience. I know we're all here for the love of animals. So in this next section, what I'm going to do is also break down how each entity benefits. Municipalities team up with nonprofit shelters. What we do is we tap into partner equity and we uniquely equip each other to deliver compassionate, efficient animal services where we can focus on innovation and public engagement. These collaborations allow nonprofits to deepen their impact and strengthen ties within communities they serve. For residents, such as you all, these result in more connected, resource-rich systems that prioritize both animal well-being and community focus, creating shared values across all levels. So I want to start out with some of the obvious, right? Some big ones. It's very cost effective. Running an animal shelter costs a lot of money. So running a city or a county shelter can be very expensive, and nonprofits can often provide the same or enhanced services at a lower cost by combining public funding with donations, grants, and including a robust volunteer workforce. We can provide enhanced animal care. We are typically mission-driven, and we're focused on best practices and progressive shelter medicine, enrichment, and humane care. This often means progressive standards in the sheltering, like I was referring to. And alternatively, that gives the municipality the able to provide its own focus, which should remain on what they do best, which is public safety and animal control, emergency preparedness, being there for the community in that humane law aspect that they serve. We can provide expertise and innovation. Animal nonprofits, we bring deep experience, professional networks, access to industry best practices like fear-free handling, progressive adoption policies, community-focused programs, safety net innovations such as keeping pets with their people. We can adapt faster to changing needs or community expectations, and we can share the risk and responsibility of what goes into taking care of the community and the animals we serve. By contracting, we reduce administrative burdens on cities or counties, and because we can take some of the day-to-day operations and staffing and liabilities away from that city. So for me, this is my favorite part. So ultimately, the animals are the biggest winners. So the greatest impact of this partnership model can really be seen in the animals themselves. Each animal receives individualized attention, special care, and improved outcomes. This partnership model supports their well-being from intake to adoption and beyond. At East Bay SPCA, for example, we enrich the lives of animals with daily behavioral support, fear-free handling practices, individualized medical and enrichment plans. Our focus on not just housing animals, but actively rehabilitating them and prepping them for adoption ensures that each pet gets the best chance at successful placement. Furthermore, we provide post-adoption support should those owners or pets need expert advice on how to have a pet thrive. Some examples I can give would be daily case routes. We identify and support animals in need of extra enrichment, decompression, or training. Customized medical care plans are developed in-house for animals with chronic conditions, injuries, or special needs. We have expert shelter teams collaborate across robust departments to ensure every animal's physical, emotional, or behavioral needs are addressed throughout their stay. Adopters have access to behavior helplines and low-cost training classes to help pets settle successfully into their new homes. We're so proud of all of the departments that our pets and our guests have access to here. And so not only do the animals and the municipalities benefit from this, but the nonprofits do as well. We love furthering our mission. And so if we can be a part of a shared purpose, we want to be there for it. We want to share space, supplies, transportation. We often want to be a part of any of that emergency response that municipality or that city wants to be a part of. We have resources that we can share. Since we aren't the first responders, we will be there if we need to be. We can create a larger impact while working on policy or public education. While shelters can focus on what each entity does best, we can create a more humane community. We can increase our impact while access to municipal animals like strays and surrenders. Nonprofits can save more lives and increase their reach in the community. We can elevate our profile. By partnering with a municipality, it opens up a lot of possibilities. If we are an official city or county partner, it really boosts our visibility and our credibility and allows us to further our mission. If we are able to partner with a city, it really does get us out in the community more. It attracts more volunteers, more donors, more adopters, more just ability to partner for more community events, more outreach events, and just a really, really strong ability to just be everywhere and be a part of in the community we all live in. And well, just like I said, partnering really opens the door to all the collaborative programs, low-cost vet clinics, pet food pantries, behavior hotlines. We have all that, and we want to be able to give that back to our community. And so if we can do all that, what it does is it gives everything back to those communities we serve. Luckily, we are rooted here in Oakland, and we serve multiple cities beyond just Oakland. Alameda County and Contra Costa counties, we are able to serve pets and people. Communities often see improved customer service, shorter shelter stays for the animals, more successful adoptions. When nonprofits run guest-centric shelter operations, they're very successful. When adopting from a shelter, you win by not only getting a pet that's been spayed or neutered, fully vaccinated and microchipped, but has veterinary and behavioral support before even going home, you're also making room for one more unhoused animal to find refuge in that same shelter. We have community-focused programs because we can be more flexible and responsive, creating services like free or low-cost spay-neuter, vaccine clinics, pet retention programs to keep animals out of shelters and with their people, behavioral support to prevent surrenders. We have higher save rates. We really emphasize life-saving outcomes, leading to fewer animals being euthanized and more animals being placed in homes. We have a lot of volunteer and engagement opportunities. We seek community involvement, giving people a chance to volunteer, foster, donate, and we want to really build a shared sense of purpose and give people an outlet for their love of animals. This really creates a strong ripple effect. The stronger the shelter, the healthier the community, and the more humane treatment of animals for generations to come. So it's a win-win scenario grounded in collaboration and care. So by contracting with a nonprofit animal shelter, municipalities tap into passion, expertise, and community energy. Nonprofits gain stability and reach, and the community benefits for a more humane, responsive, and effective animal care system.
Thank you for that overview, Lindsay. And up next, to really demonstrate the power of the collaboration between nonprofits and municipalities, I'm excited to show a video for you all of a special case that we received from the City of San Leandro.
You would never know this happy puppy had a rough beginning.
Sometimes we get animals that come in that really need some additional medical care, and we're able to provide that through our shelter medicine team, and then if needed, through our loving foster homes, where they're able to have the time that they need to recover from whatever condition they had when they arrived here.
So when I first found Durian, I thought he was deceased. He was curled up in a bookshelf with a blanket covering him. He wasn't moving at all, wasn't reacting to touch or anything. But in the condition, he was really bad. I thought he was going to have to be euthanized. As soon as we brought him to the intake floor, he completely shifted his attitude. All he wanted was pets and love.
Derby came to us as a stray. He had a severe skin infection when he showed up, and he was a depressed, sad puppy. I think he was about 4 or 5 months old when he came to us, and he was in really bad shape.
My kids troll Trello, the foster site, and then just send me links to it all the time and said, let's get this one home. And this one was just like the ugliest thing to exist at the time. So I called and they said, absolutely pick him up today. And he was like wrapped up in a sheet or a towel when we picked him up because he was just full of scabs. And as that time progressed over a couple of months, you just saw him just get a little bit more friendly, a little bit more vocal. You can just tell that his confidence was building. He went from a very calm medical puppy to just straight puppy and all the puppy tendencies and characteristics.
The tough part with animal control is I never see the end. I always see the beginning when it comes to the animal, so I never see the happy ending. As soon as I saw him that day, I had to ask him, was that the same dog? Once they told me yes, I had to come in and introduce myself and meet him because it was, it almost brought tears to my eyes seeing him in that condition. From the worst possible to the new condition was unbelievable.
We have been fostering for about a year, a lot of puppies, and I knew we are definitely not bringing a puppy in. And then we got this guy. And I told the kids, every foster that comes in, they're like, we're gonna keep him. And I'm like, there's no way. We have 2, I have 3 kids and I said, there's no way. And then I got really attached. He showed such great characteristics of a dog that you kind of want when he was a puppy. When he needs something like a walk or a feed, the whole family kind of gets involved. But they're lovely.
Oh, that story gets me every time. That was a case that came into us at the very end of last year and then got that happy outcome that we were just able to witness early this year. And as I mentioned before the start of the video, that's because of the partnership that we have with the City of San Leandro. And so that video really does serve as a great example of the type of work that we're able to do when we partner with these municipalities. And we've been working with the City of San Leandro out of our Oakland facility since 2021, like I mentioned earlier. And now we're really looking forward to providing that same level of care and life transformations to the citizens and the animals of Livermore. And that contract is based out of our Dublin shelter location. So we're now able to use both of our shelter campuses to serve even more pets and their people. In addition to those 2 communities, many of us at East Bay SPCA live and work in Oakland. So this is our community too. And in 2025, just so far this year, we've worked really hard to support our Oakland community. And I have statistics of this year, but these are programs that we've been doing for many, many years to support our local community here. So just for the residents of the City of Oakland, through our Humane Advocacy Program, which really works to keep pets and their people together, we've supported Oakland residents with over $78,000 for 170 pets to get medical care that they need through our veterinary assistance program at our Theodore B. Travers full service clinic. And then additionally, over $20,000 for 23 pets have been used so that they could get veterinary care at external clinics. We support the Oakland community with spay and neuter, and we have a spay neuter voucher program that has allowed 103 pets, again, just so far this year, to be spayed or neutered at our spay neuter clinic in Oakland. We have a pretty unique program that's called Hold for Home, and this is a temporary boarding program for folks who are experiencing some sort of crisis in their life where they need a safe place for their pet to go so that they can get the care that they need. And then once their situation is stabilized, we're able to reunite those pets with their people. So it keeps the pets out of shelters long term. And through Hold for Home, we've been able to keep 8 animals from Oakland with their people. And that includes 3 that were taken in after a house fire tragically had to separate the pets for their people. People were able to get back on their feet, find new housing, and we were able to reunite them. Our behavior and training program here is staffed by a team of expert and credentialed trainers, and we offer group classes, webinars, a free behavior helpline, private training, all of that to all of our residents, not only in the city in Oakland, but beyond. Anyone in Alameda and Contra Costa County, or with our online private training from even further afoot, can benefit from our behavior and training programs. But what was really interesting and that I wanted to share with you all is what we've seen is an increase in folks who are coming to East Bay SPCA because they don't have the means to access this sort of expertise on their own. But we have a scholarship program here for our behavior and training program where we're able to waive the fees or reduce the fees for folks who really want to keep their pet with them but are struggling with some behavior concern. And so far, just this month alone, just in July, we've seen 50%, half of our private trainings that we've done through behavior and training have been booked by scholarship recipients. So those are families who otherwise, again, wouldn't have access to this level of expertise and might be forced to make a difficult decision to surrender their pet due to behavior concerns. And we've been able to help keep those families together. And then finally, we offer a pet food pantry. So we give out food to members of our community. And over 2/3 of clients who come to our pet food pantry reside in the city of Oakland. That means that so far this year, we've passed out over 17,000 cat meals and 16,000 dog meals at our pantry. But beyond that, we've partnered with many community organizations in the city of Oakland and given them food so that when they're out in the community and they see a person or a pet in need, they can pass that food on. And through that program alone, we've passed out more than 55,000 animal meals through our Oakland community partners. So that's a little bit about how we're supporting members of the community directly. Now let's talk about the support that we've been able to provide to our closest municipal sheltering agency, which is Oakland Animal Services. And this is in addition to serving as the only sheltering agencies for the cities of San Leandro and now Livermore. So we do weekly animal transports, and that means we actually send a staff member over to Oakland Animal Services and bring animals from their organization into ours, like we talked about early with the transfer type of animal intake style, where we are able to use our expanded programs or resources to provide additional support to those pets before making them available to the public for adoption. We also, as I mentioned earlier, East Bay SPCA is written into the Oakland Municipal Code to be able to accept strays directly, and that's something that we have done since our founding and continue to do to this day. And being able to do that really helps fill the gap for Oakland's animals. So whether Oakland Animal Services is closed or out of space or otherwise not accepting animals, we're here as an extra safety net to be able to accept strays directly. And we all are aware that Oakland is facing some critical budget challenges. And so East Bay SPCA has been evaluating how we can be best suited to continue supporting the animals and the people of this community. One of those ways is through the behavior and training expertise that I mentioned in the last slide. We offer discount codes to folks who adopt, not only from East Bay SPCA, but from all agencies, including Oakland Animal Services, so that they can provide follow-up behavior support. And then we do offer shared resources directly to other shelters and their staff and volunteers if they want to learn more about animal behavior. So just some numbers up here. You can see I've broken this up since 2022 and over the past decade of the total animals that East Bay SPCA has either diverted or pulled from Oakland Animal Services to free up space in that organization for them to continue serving the community. And that totals over the last decade, nearly 10,000 animals that we've been able to divert from OAS. So with that, I want to thank you all so much for attending our talk today. And we are happy now to open it up to any questions that we have from any of you.
Thank you, Karalyn and Lindsay. That was great. Just for everyone who joined at the beginning of this webinar, my office foster, Miss Clifford, is very camera shy. She's actually now snoring on my floor. So for those interested, I wanted to share a profile picture of her on Instagram. You should be able to see that in the chat below, so you have a reference to the big, beautiful girl I've been talking about. Okay, we have some questions. We've gotten a few times. Will this recording be available afterwards? Yes, we will be sending it out to people who registered for the webinar, and we'll also have it on our website eventually. So yes, you will be getting a follow-up, so you will see the recording. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started with some of the presentation questions. What is your process for accepting owner surrenders?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this one. So at East Bay SPCA, one of our highest priorities is actually to keep families together and to keep pets with the people who love them. And what we find is when folks reach out to us to surrender, by asking some questions, we're often able to understand that they actually would love to keep their pet, but maybe they're facing something in that moment that makes them feel like they aren't best suited or they might need to surrender. And so through the resources at our organization, we're able to provide them vet assistance if the pet is undergoing something medical, or scholarships for our behavior and training programs, or pet food. All of these diversion programs are available to our community. And oftentimes just through that, we're able to keep that bond and keep that pet in the home that loves them. With that being said, sometimes there are situations where folks truly aren't able to keep their pet anymore. And for those times, we are here as a community safety net. So we'll ask owners to give us some information so that we can get to know their pet. And then we have them schedule time to come in so that we can perform a behavioral and medical exam, again, learning more about that animal. And if through that evaluation, we find that they're going to have a good quality of life in the shelter and be candidates for our adoption program, then we'll accept them on the spot.
Thank you. It's a great answer. So number 2, you mentioned you take in strays. What is your policy for strays on adult cats and kittens?
Ooh, I'll take that one, since I love cats. Where do I start? Okay. So I do want to talk about, well, a lot. Okay. What I do want to do is kind of define stray cats. And I do want to talk about what is a stray cat. So a significant number of free roaming cats are actually community cats or are outdoor pets. And those are intentionally being cared for by people in neighborhoods. Studies definitely show that the majority of cats brought to shelters as strays aren't ever reclaimed. And so when we encounter physically healthy cats in shelters, we know that they often do better where they're left especially, well, because they're living their best life out there. Let's be honest. So if we were to take in every healthy cat, it really does overwhelm shelter capacity, leading to overcrowding, stressed animals, increased disease transmission for otherwise healthy cats. So it diverts resources away from animals truly in crisis. So when we meet cats that are injured, sick, or really at risk, those are who we want to help. We love and care for felines as deeply as the next guy. I have 3 cats, probably end up with more, let's be real. So we want to make as much of a strategic impact as we can with our resources in a way that focuses our efforts on the cats who can't survive without medical or human intervention due to things like illness, maternal loss, things like that. And research, again, shows that cats are about 13 times more likely to get home on their own. They have a notable homing instinct, and they can travel surprising distances, like I'm talking miles, to return to familiar territory. So you never know. You might see a cat you don't recognize in your neighborhood. It might belong to a new neighbor many blocks away. Someone got a new cat. So we encourage exactly what the experts do from tons of organizations. So we defer to them because they're the leading experts in this. National Animal Care and Control Association, UC Davis Corette Shelter Medicine Program, and Cal Animals. What they do is opt to refer to spay-neuter services and releasing back out to the outdoor community they already know and love and thrive in. We offer low-cost spay and neuter services where we can. We obviously want to grow that one day if we can get the support to do so. I recently watched a webinar on this through Cal Animals. They have an online learning portal. If anyone wants information, I can put that in the chat as well. But that's kind of our philosophy on cats. It is definitely best practice for our industry.
Great. You mentioned you are providing a lot of support to the community, especially in Oakland. How are you making those resources available to the public?
Well, I'm already on a roll, so you want me to take that one too? Yeah, so obviously we're committed to a lot. I'm listening to us talk, I'm definitely in awe of the breadth of our programs. And we want to make everything as accessible as we can to the Oakland community. Again, we provide low-cost veterinary care, vaccine clinics, spay-neuter services, behavior supports. We want to keep pets healthy, and we want to keep them in their home. We offer community resources like pet food assistance. We also want to help folks navigate pet-related challenges. These programs are promoted through partnerships with local organizations, such as our animal control relationships, our police department partnerships, and community events. Anyone can easily find information on our website at eastbayspca.org or by calling us directly. We want people to know that help is available, and we aim to make it easy to access. Our services are often bilingual, and we're always working to ensure that our approach has low to no barriers. And it's also rooted in the needs of our community, so it's ever evolving. Our Oakland shelter does serve as our central hub, but as Karalyn mentioned earlier, we do have another location in Dublin. For many of these resources, we encourage folks to follow us on social media as well. Keep up with any of our upcoming community events.
Fantastic. Okay. What is the total number of animals you are caring for per year?
I'll hop in here. So this is actually a bit of an interesting question. Pre-pandemic, our annual intake was right about 3,500 animals. Now, when COVID hit, we, like pretty much so every other shelter in the country, saw a dramatic decrease in our population and our animal intake. So since 2020, we've been getting back up to that level. And year over year, we've seen steadily right about 10% increase in our intake. So this year, we're on track to hit 3,000 animals that are brought into our 2 facilities across the year. And we anticipate that number to continue growing back to pre-pandemic levels.
Fantastic. Okay. Do both East Bay SPCA and OAS have veterinary social workers on staff?
Yeah, so Oakland Animal Services, through a partnership with their Friends of group, has provided some community resources, which is great, and they're doing amazing work. East Bay SPCA is unique in that we actually have 3 full-time staff members who function as social workers, where they're not only focused on the pet, but they are able to provide wraparound care for the human that's involved with these cases, right? We often think about the animals, but in fact, pretty much every animal we serve is going to have a person connected to their story, whether that's at the beginning or the end or caring for them ongoing. So East Bay SPCA is unique in that we staff this social work department to not only partner with pet parents and veterinary clinics, but also with a lot of social services agencies in Alameda and Contra Costa County. And if someone approaches us and they're clearly going through some sort of life crisis, we're often able to give a warm handoff and refer them to one of our community partners who specializes in that social service.
I know we talked a little bit already about taking in strays, specifically Oakland strays, but we have a question here from an Oakland volunteer asking what is the protocol for accepting Oakland strays, and just some clarification on Oakland strays versus San Leandro strays at our Oakland facility.
I'm happy to help. So as Karalyn mentioned, I think it's come up a couple times, we are written into the Muni Code to be able to assist. We also want to make sure that we are doing what's right for the pet. So if the pet has a better chance of making its way home, then we want to set it to the correct jurisdictional shelter. And so that being said, if we know that the owner is more likely to go look for it at the Oakland campus over at OAS, then that's what we will suggest. But we want to make sure that we are also keeping it here if we know that we can provide for it, such as an underaged animal or an animal that might thrive better with our resources. And then I'm sorry, what was the second part of it? It was acceptance of a San Leandro? Is that what you had mentioned?
Yeah, just some clarification on Oakland strays versus San Leandro strays in terms of our Oakland facility.
Oh, and San Leandro, yes. So we will take San Leandro strays through our animal control contract. And we do have an animal control officer. He was here earlier. And we are assisting those who cannot be reunited with owners in the field, and as well as underage animals who do need our help. And those are, we go above and beyond the contract where we can with our breadth of services.
Fast. Great. So we have a comment and question here, just a little bit about the City of San Leandro from a resident of San Leandro, and was just asking for a little bit better understanding of our partnership with the City of San Leandro. It seems there's been some concern with some residents about how animal control might be dealing with feral cats and whether they're actually getting to the Oakland SPCA for spay and neuter, and what their care is. So any more clarification? I know we've kind of already touched on this, but just asking for a little bit of elaboration.
Yeah, I think the video that we played earlier really demonstrated how passionate about animal welfare the San Leandro Animal Control Officer is. And so that is something that we're very fortunate to partner with, is professionals who are so passionate about the work they do. We do take in community cats when they are not thriving where they are, like Lindsay mentioned earlier. So if they're sick, injured, or underaged, we are absolutely here to take them in. If an adult cat is healthy and doing well in the community, like Lindsay talked about, the recommendations from the experts in the field is to leave them where they are or have them brought in for spay and neuter services and then put back out into that community that they're thriving in. And so that's what our partnership with the City of San Leandro is, and exactly how we operate on a day-to-day basis with them.
Yeah, it's
Great.
very
And
common for us to facilitate in partnership with them to have them spayed and neutered, like you mentioned here in your question, and they will actually help us bring it back out to that outdoor home that they were once living in so they can continue living that best life, like I mentioned before.
fantastic. And there's a similar question about Livermore that goes along those same lines in terms of us accepting lost adult cats from Livermore who are not community cats. So I don't know if you want to address this in Livermore specifically.
I think it goes along with the same mention of what we've been saying before. We're just deferring to best practices from the experts in this field. It's difficult to say if it's someone's outdoor pet, a community cat, all the above. I always recommend that if you have concerns whether or not it is a community cat, that you can always get on your next door. You're always welcome to see if a local veterinarian can scan it for a microchip, but more than likely it is a happy, healthy, thriving outdoor pet. And you are always welcome to facilitate spay and neuter. The cats are legally free roaming, and like we've said a couple times, they're likely part of a cared for community if they are plump and healthy looking. And we're here to care for them if they're not, if they are ill, injured, and do need a helping hand from humans. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, and I do just want to add one detail here. We do scan every single animal that's brought to us for a microchip. And if there is a microchip, we do absolutely everything in our power to reunite that animal with its registered owner. And so if any animal comes to us, regardless of whether or not we end up taking it in, that animal is being scanned for a microchip, and that is the best way to ensure that for all of you with pets at home, your pets will be reunited with you should they ever get lost.
Great. We did just get a comment. Thank you for clarification on community cats, that they found that helpful. So this is a comment, but also kind of posed as a resource question. So I think they're saying that they help with TNR referrals. So, and occasionally one is socialized, but accessing resources to post some of these cats online or get online exposure has been very difficult. Do we have any resources that we can provide to people to help them if they have animals they're trying to home after TNR and that type of thing?
Yeah, so short of accepting the animal here, which if you're caring for an animal, thank you so much for all of the work that you're doing in the community to care for those cats. A few different options. So one, East Bay SPCA offers spay neuter slots every day that are saved for community cats. So if you wanted to get anyone altered, you can do that through our clinic or through other community clinics. If there is a socialized cat, they're probably really comfortable with you, and transitioning to a shelter may or may not be in that animal's best interest. So we recommend, we actually have a page on our website, which is eastbayspca.org, that lists a bunch of different places where you can post an animal. Our organization at this time does not have a home-to-home platform. It's something we're looking into, but we don't offer that, though other orgs in the area do. Or honestly, I have found it to be really successful using Nextdoor or other online platforms where you can actually share a lot of the information that you know about that individual kitten because you've raised it and socialized it to help find it its home.
Great. And so far, that's all the questions we have. Anybody, just a last call here for any questions about the presentation or any of the work we're doing here at East Bay SPCA, we'd be happy to answer. As follow-ups, you can also reach out directly to me. Again, my name's Julie Henderson. I'm the Vice President of Philanthropy, and my email address is jhenderson@eastbayspca.com. It was also in the email invitation, so you can click that to find it. Looks like that's it. So thank you all so much for being here today. We really appreciate all of your support. We couldn't do this work without our community, and we're always here to be a resource. So like I said, please reach out, and thank you so much for all you do for us. We really appreciate your time and are honored to be a part of your community and be able to help.
Thank you, everyone.